नॉट येट। अच्छा हाँ, आ गया। स्टार्टेड 3 सेकेंड ago। लाइव आ गया। एक सेकेंड, बंद कर दो। हम्म। ये ये लेफ्ट वाला ना प्रीव्यू है, तो आप राइट वाले इसको शायद अब शायद हो गया होगा। हो गया। हम्म।
जी भैया, कर दिया। मैं एक बार ही सबको टैग कर रही हूँ, अब कोर को कर दिया, बाकियों को भी कर रही हूँ ग्रुप में अपने अपने डिजाइन वगैरह के। हाँ, अच्छा ओके।
हाँ, ऑडियो आ रही है।
सोचता है तू ही जाने तू क्या सोचता है बावरे क्यों दिखाए सपने तू सोते जागते जो बरसे सपने बूंद बूंद नैनों को मूंद मूंद नैनों को मूंद जो बरसे सपने बूंद बूंद नैनों को मूंद मूंद कैसे मैं चलूं देख ना सकूं अनजाने रास्ते जैसा है कोई एक तारा 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 धीमे बोले कोई एक तारा धीमे बोले कोई एक तारा जैसा है कोई एक तारा जैसा है कोई एक तारा सुन सुध बुध खोके कोई मैं कहानी पूरी कहानी है क्या किसे है पता मैं तो किसी की होके ये भी न जानी रुत है ये दो पल की या रहेगी सदा पता किसे है पता जो बरसे सपने बूंद बूंद नैनों को मूंद मूंद नैनों को मूंद जो बरसे सपने बूंद बूंद नैनों को मूंद मूंद कैसे मैं चलूं
Yes, can you hear me, please?
अनजाने रास्ते
So without the microphone, you can hear me. So I'm just going to plug this in. Or shall, is it if it's okay like this, we can go ahead like this. It's not a problem. But I hope you can hear me clearly enough. If you can hear me clearly enough, we are okay. I'm good to go like this.
Yes, ma'am.
So when can we begin the meeting? I have to get a presentation in the sharing mode here. So let me in 5-10 minutes. Okay, let me. I was trying to share a window presentation. We can actually start. Uh, just a moment. I thought we can have a.
Good morning, ma'am. Sorry, good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, we'll be starting in 5 minutes. Will that be okay? Because there are a few people who are actually willing to join, and
Mhm.
we'll just be waiting for them, and then we'll start. Will that be okay?
It's okay. Otherwise, I can just have a general discussion with everyone. I mean, we can just carry on, as you
Uh,
say.
Perfect, ma'am. As you say.
Yeah, we can actually have a general discussion with everybody, and people can keep joining in. Yeah, others can keep joining in. So I was just trying to meanwhile share the presentation and get this thing working. That the presentation should be visible to all. On the Google, it's slightly different. Formatting options are different. Yes, is this visible, please? Okay. So how big is it? Is it big enough for you to see everything? Uh, is it full screen? Can you see it well enough? Okay, and now I'm changing the slide. So has the slide changed? It hasn't. It's the old slide, the very first slide, which says personal interview for higher studies and recruitments. Is that the thing? Is that the slide that you see in front of you? No, this is the presentation mode, which I have, the slideshow mode, but it doesn't go to the next slide, so I have to take it back to the. Uh, No, no. This is the presentation. This is the slide. What is that called? Slideshow mode. Sorry, I didn't get you. What was that? Uh-huh. Entire screen for that. Okay, so I have to change the sharing mechanism over here. Just let me just check. Just a moment. So what is the option for that? Entire screen. Okay, let's see.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, very good evening.
Ma'am, could we just give a quick interview before you start?
Interview.
No, I mean introduction, sorry.
Yeah, I was just actually, we'll start very shortly. I was just waiting to have this presentation thing going. And now this, if I share the whole screen, in that case, I don't see the window over here. Just a second. So now that I'm sharing the entire screen, uh, can you see the entire presentation? I would like to know that you can see it really big. Hide button. Okay, it's working. So now, can you see the next slide now? Life is simple. Just be yourself. That's okay. Great. But I can't see your chat box and all like this. That's the only disadvantage, I guess. But yeah, I'd rather prefer students speak, but if you just keep seeing the chat box and sometimes students put up some questions over there. So, so anyway, I think how many of us are there? We're about, I think, 15, 16 of us. 30 plus have joined. Okay. So, all right, okay. No issues. Yeah, we could begin now, as you say, because I'm just waiting. I thought we could just have had an informal conversation. Students could have started joining because there is a there is a time, and we might as well begin. It's already 10 past 6, I think. It's time to begin, and whatever your organizer wishes to begin with the initial notes, we can begin with those. Okay.
Should we begin now, Gagan? Okay. As Eleanor Roosevelt rightly said, and I quote, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." Unquote.
As we enter yet another exciting year of our college life, we take a step towards the professional world outside, a world full of opportunities and challenges, a world to showcase the best version of yourself. But in this glamorous yet competitive world, your success depends on how well you ace your interviews. On behalf of D-Lang Chaps, the Literary and Managerial Society of GTBIT, I take this golden opportunity to extend a warm welcome to our honored guest speaker, Mrs. Prerna Chauhan. With more than 15 years of experience in the education sector, she is a senior faculty working at T.I.M.E and has mentored numerous students for GDs and PIs who received calls from IIMs. I request Prerna ma'am to walk us through the whole selection process and guide us on how to crack some of the most intense interviews. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your kind words. And it is indeed a pleasure to be among so many students who are aspiring to do something productive in the world and who want to make a career for themselves. I'm really glad to be amidst all of you, and I would like to share all my experience that I have in this whatever time we have together. And I hope that we'll try and make this an interactive session wherein students are free to unmute themselves and speak up and come up with their views, or if they have any queries, please be very interactive, and I'll try my best to address your queries as well. So this session, I am told, is on interviews, and as rightly said, the interview is the last stage before you get selected. You could be getting selected for any B school, for example. You might be, let's say, you want to go in for higher studies, you want to do an MBA program, or you want to go for a PhD. You may have an interview. You may have an interview for a government job. It could be just about anything. So it is my understanding that and of course, my understanding is that you're in college and you'll have your own placements as well. Am I right? Your placement should be around very soon. Yes, that is my understanding that placements too would take place shortly in colleges. Normally have them sometime in the third year. And so, what are the nuances of doing well on an interview, and how can we make a very good impression? Which has got to be a holistic impression. It is not just about how we dress or um, even communication skills. I mean, it's a lot to go beyond that as well. Though these are also important aspects, but this possibly probably could be the icing on the cake. You know how you dress up and all, and your attire. But the substance of the interview, I would like to focus on that. That when students go in for that, they should prepare themselves for something, for making an impression that seems convincing to the recruiters. And so it's extremely important that we know what they want, what they're looking for. So if you know what they are looking for, you're likely to work in that direction, and you're likely to gain some information in those areas. Otherwise, without any input, just likely to go in and take your chances. I would say, will simply take your chances. And as somebody was pointing out earlier in the session, one of the participants, that we could go ahead with a mock interview. So I could take up some questions and ask you to give responses to them, and I could share my feedback. In fact, we have a lot of mock interviews at our institute for students. And I remember from last year and last year, how times changed, and we were in a lockdown, and this the mode changed, that you are in front of a screen now and you are facing the panel across a screen, and uh, sometimes it's an individual interview mostly, and there are some colleges like the SPJ in Mumbai, which takes it takes a collective interview wherein you have 4 or 5 candidates who may be joining from just about anywhere, and there is a panel sitting at the other end, and you have an interview that may last anywhere from 20 minutes to 40 minutes. So how comfortable are we with the screen? And I appreciate one of the students. I didn't catch your name, dear. There was somebody at the other end who was trying to help me out with my presentation here. Just advised me how to go about it. It shows your comfort level with technology and also to guide somebody else on it. So it's a skill in today's times, and uh, it'll be safe to say that the coming years and the coming times, it is certainly going to be a hybrid work. Looks like it's going to be a hybrid workplace where a lot of work will take place on your computers. I mean, when you think of the person interaction, so students have got to be ready for this, that they may have online interviews, or they may have to go to the location, or it may be an on-site interview as well. And how comfortable you are with the technology. Are you comfortable before the screen, and can you present your views comfortably as well? So very very quickly we'll take up some of the questions related to, these are some pics of some successful people, and all of us are looking at success. So what are the questions that come to our minds? Let me just see what I'd like to pick up. Personality development. When you talk of personality on an interview, if you're talking of an on-screen personality, I think you have to look very presentable on screen when you interact with other people, and there are enough jokes about people who are formally dressed from the top, but in their lowers they are in their casuals. And I remember one of the interviews that took place in a B school, wherein the candidate was actually asked that please stand up and go back, go away from the walk away from the camera. And fair enough, he was in his casuals. The boy was in his, it was a male's candidate, and he was in his casuals. So would you like to take that chance, assuming that nobody is going to ask you? And this is a real thing which happened during the lockdown times, and when interviews were happening. So be prepared for anything on an interview, and people can ask you all kind of quirky kind of questions. They will ask you knowledge, they will ask you general awareness, they will ask you about your own streams. So when you think of personality development for an interview, I think the most important thing that any candidate should have for an interview is his or her knowledge. He or she carries with her this bag full of knowledge that she can share with others. I would say that she can perhaps share with others. And why I say this is because if you don't have knowledge, do you really think that your good turnout or your good communication skills is going to make an impact? Though these are very, communication skills certainly is very important, and I'm not undermining it. I'm not saying it's not important. But when you ask me what is the real thing that impresses people when they speak to you, of course, communications and is the medium through which you present your knowledge, and your personality, your outward personality, is the icing on the cake. But please note, the icing makes no sense without the cake itself. And so the cake is the real substance of your interview, and that is the real knowledge that we ought to have. And so when you go for an interview, be sure that your personality is going to be a mix. It's going to be a combination of all this. It's going to be a combination of your communication skills. It's going to be a combination of your knowledge, primarily your dressing sense, to know what they expect from you and to align yourself to their requirements. Your dressing has to be very formal, irrespective of where you're going. If you have any questions, please ask. Uh, Gents can usually wear a light colored shirt, and so goes with ladies. If they are wearing a formal western wear, it's going to be light colored shirt or a top and dark colored trousers. It is advisable that ladies keep their hair tied, you know, well tied, so that there are no loose ends when it comes to their hair, and they don't fly about on the screen, or even otherwise, even when you have live on location interviews. So your hair shouldn't be flying left and right, or seem, you know, very disorganized, something like that. Similarly, the men need to have uh, a clean uh, if they take a haircut, then the haircut has to be it has to be trim. And if you're wearing any headgear, it's got to be neat and clean. So that's my suggestion. Please do not wear shoes that make noise. or shoes that make you uncomfortable. But if you're walking and going somewhere, and new shoes are not advisable because you may not be comfortable in them. So, and first impressions are really important. uh, if you want to ask me questions, how is your interview going to take place? I'm talking about an on-site interview. When you have placement agencies coming, they usually so what is the etiquette? Do you wait to be called, or do you simply enter the room? I think you would wait to be called, no? So you've got to be clear that you would not barge into an interview room. Yes, are you able to hear me, guys? I'm not able to
Yes, ma'am.
make.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes. Okay, great. Please ask your questions. You may have heard stories from your seniors who've been sitting for interviews. If you have any questions, please ask freely. Thing is that wait for your call, and even once you've entered the interview, don't grab a chair and settle down on it. Okay, now I found a chair right in front, so let me just grab it. It's good to stand and wait to be indicated. That please have a seat. It's always better, and carry your file and folders if you need to carry all your documents. Then and therefore, at that point in time, be very certain and be ready to wish everyone. Uh, mm, if there is more than one panel member, so you're not going to wish people individually. I mean, if there are two or three people sitting across, would you like to wish them individually? Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. What? You can't do that. And even if there are two men and a lady, you would not like to wish the lady separately. It's a panel, and you just say good morning and good morning everyone, or you just say good morning, sir, ma'am, like that. You can say something. Good morning, sir, ma'am, like that. So that means you are giving attention to everyone. Try and look everybody in the eye when you see. Very, very important not to look away. If you look away, then you may just seem shy and all. Body posture has got to be really good. It should not be droopy at all. It should be absolutely straight, confident. And as I said, please try and not to wear any new clothes. If you wear new clothes, they can make you uncomfortable. So whatever new clothes you have, you wear them once or twice at home, and kind of wash them and iron them again and be comfortable in them. Because I have enough experience of knowing that somebody got a new pair of shoes, and whether men or ladies, and then they become uncomfortable at the last minute. And it'll distract you, it'll just be an irritant. So be comfortable, whatever you practice, have adequate practice in that. Then your handshake, please, no handshakes are required to be done unless they offer a handshake. Please don't offer your hand. You're not supposed to offer any hand. And what else can we discuss over here? While sitting, your posture has to be very clear. You shouldn't sit in a defensive posture. You would have know something about body language that this posture is pretty defensive. I hope you can see this. The way I'm sitting over here, frankly, I can't even take your session sitting like this. And when you find people sitting like this, it's a defensive posture. So your hands should be resting comfortably on the sides of if it's an armchair, or on your legs, I would rather say. And please do not keep anything on the table in front of you, because that table is their territory. So you might just reach there and plonk your mobile, keep your mobile on the table, or keep your file on the table, and think that it's meant for you. You're trying to make yourself comfortable, but I don't think we should do anything like that. Because that is their space. There is something called spacing in body language, and it's their territory. So you keep your file with you. You can keep it on your lap comfortably. Please ensure that it doesn't slip off your hand. It should be a pretty neat file which you can hold comfortably and offer it to them just in case they want to see some documents. And please buy a good folder, a good file. It shouldn't be the kind of files that we usually use otherwise. Yeah, the ones that we use frequently, and this one has to be a little slick. So that is one thing. Then moving on, we should be careful not to express any extreme feelings when we are before them. So we should have a balanced kind of a demeanor, the face that shows a balance. Suddenly laughing, or suddenly contorting your face. Contorting your face is distorting your face. So they may feel that you're uncomfortable or something like that. They are free to draw their own conclusions. And one example which catches my eye here is the raising of one eyebrow. So if you raise your eyebrows, even a single eyebrow, some of us have got a habit, of doing it, and we may not know that we are doing it. Now that's the part. So please avoid that, and you might like to practice a little in front of a mirror. Frankly speaking, I would strongly recommend that you practice responding to questions which you may have a list with you. So you should sit in front of a mirror in a formal dress and see that when you speak, how does your face move? How are we moving our hands? We shouldn't move our hands too much, but a little bit of movement of hands is acceptable, I would say, something like this. And as I was telling you, the facial expressions should be pretty balanced. And we sometimes we may land up rolling our eyes, looking up or lie right or left. It is avoidable. We've got to look in front. This is my few minutes that I get. Let's say I get anywhere from 10 minutes to 15 minutes to 20-25 minutes in an interview. That is, if it's a medium length interview, I don't think I'd like to give that opportunity to look away from the interviewer, frankly speaking. Yeah, no, I don't mean to scare him by looking at him continuously, I would say, but more or less looking in that direction generally, so that I know what they're asking and what I have to respond. My body has to be, shouldn't be leaning back, it should be leaning slightly forward only, that you're eager to listen and respond, something like that. So these are some points about the body language. The hands, of course, uh, please do not sit like this. This is a very dominating posture, not meant for us, meant for people who possibly are in decision-making positions. And so we'd rather keep our hands apart and maybe slightly on our legs, comfortably resting comfortably on the side arms, right? Something like that. And similarly, the legs should be firmly placed on the floor. Sometimes, the chair has a kind of a rod connecting the bottom, the lower part of the chair, and please avoid putting your leg on that rod. It's advisable that you put your feet firmly on the, you can try doing that just now, wherever you're sitting. Put your legs firmly on the floor and keep a distance of about 6 to 10 inches between the two legs. So, and practice like that. That will also make you less fidgety. Fidgety is restless. You wouldn't be restless, and your feet will be comfortably on the floor. You do something like this. And frankly speaking, these things take practice. Some of us may feel that these things, why are we discussing them? We are discussing them because we really do not know how we may appear to other people when they see us. And there is called something called a comfort that people have when others walk in. Sometimes you see a person and he makes you comfortable because he's just got a smile on his face. And of course, you've got to walk in with a smile. Please remember that. Don't have too serious a face or a questioning look on your face. All right. And be totally attentive in the room wherever your interview is going to take place. There's no way that we can afford to get distracted. Then we've got to keep a close eye upon the interviewers, what they are looking at. That is one thing. So I think we can move on from here. This discussion. Yeah, please. There is no way you can say that you are nervous. Even if you're feeling nervous, never admit it. In fact, this is a question that they ask to make you comfortable, that how are you feeling. So you simply have to say that, what was the other thing you said? I'm feeling confident. Well, I would rather not suggest that. You can simply say, I'm fine, sir, thank you. Just say that. I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling good, sir, thank you. That's it. Well, you don't have any chance to interact with them. Your interaction is limited to your responses. So on your own, I would suggest don't say anything on your own. Wait for them to say whatever they have to say, and be very brief in your responses. I mean, the interview is a very formal place. It is not a casual discussion at all, though they will try and make you feel very comfortable. But at whatever questions they ask you, you've got to respond to them in a very, very professional kind of a manner, showing that you are a professional. And because they will try and make you comfortable, and they will try and ask you the inside story about your college and about your classes. They might do that. So you've got to give the balanced response, the professional response. And I'm not saying that you've got to lie anything or say something which is not the truth, but it is better that we don't say something which is uncomfortable for anyone. I hope that's clear. I hope that is clear. So there is no way of saying anything negative about ourselves. In fact, if somebody were to, you tell me that if somebody is to, there is a question that is commonly asked in the interview, that please introduce yourself, isn't it? So in such a question, what are we going to say that? One moment. Mhm. See, this is a question which is commonly asked on the interview, that please introduce yourself. Tell us something about yourself. So, because somebody, you asked me initially that can we say that I'm feeling a bit nervous, there is no way that at an interview you can include, there is something which maybe you would be aware of, which is called strengths and weaknesses. You may have heard of this term. That is, it's an interview question. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And sometimes people do talk about their strengths during their introductions, but there is no question that a person will, while introducing himself, talk about his weaknesses unless he is asked. So that is why I said, do not say anything that is uncomfortable. Unless you are asked what is your weakness, just don't say it. So, in fact, for your interviews, for your introduction, what did you say that you would want to include? You ideally, yeah, please you come up with your ideas. What would you like to include? So you were saying something about your interests. That is towards the end, okay, and or maybe even in the middle. But any question like this about yourself, you have to frame it in such a manner. Now, in such a question, would I want to talk about my parents and all, and my background, where I lived and what I did, which place I belong to? I would say that please avoid these kind of inclusions, because it is not that they are not, that it is not a part of you as an individual. But when they ask you that, tell us something about yourself, so they really are keen to know what are your interests, what are your strengths, what have you done, and what you want to do from here. So you have to frame it like this, that if whatever you are doing in college, talk about it. Say that I'm a student at so and so college, and in my college, these are my main interests are this. I'm a participant in that club. For example, I think all of you are a part of some society, I think, that is organizing this. So you can say what activities you are doing in college, your co-curricular activities and academic activities, what projects you have done, and maybe you have organized some events. Please talk about them and talk about your interest in future. If it is a particular company that is coming for you, then you should say that I look forward to working with your company. Let us say it is TCS. So say I look forward to working with TCS. Let us say as a fresher, because you're in college. So I would certainly say that you speak like that. Did you get this? Did you get this,
Yes.
everybody? You've got to be very focused. Talk about your academics, what you're doing in academics. Talk about your association in the college, what you're doing, and say what you want to do in future, like that, like that. And how why you want to join their company. Let's say it's a TCS or Infosys comes to your grounds, so you can say that I look forward to working at your reputed workplace as a fresher, and in this kind of a profile, the same profile for which you are going for the interview, something like this you've got to say. And please note, and interviews can go on for any length of time. Honesty, ethics, decision making, they can check anything. They can give you a question on ethics. I think I have a question on ethics with me somewhere. Or decision making, they may show you a puzzle suddenly, and let's say that you bring out in the interview, no, that I'm very good at analytical skills. My statistics is I'm very good at statistics, for example. So and the panel may have some puzzles up their sleeve, and they will say, all right, so here is the puzzle, and let's see you solve this puzzle. And it may be a mathematical puzzle, or it may be some other pictorial puzzle that they can give you. So be ready for anything. These are very common ways of checking a student's presence of mind. And so be ready for it. So please note it down. Puzzles are commonly asked. I have some puzzles with me. I may share them with you. Let me just check where they are. Somewhere on the slide. So please note, the interviews for colleges are usually taken by professors. The alumni of the college is also invited. For example, let's say you are going for some top college like IIT or some IIM somewhere, or some other school. Therein they call their alumni also. Psychologists are also called. Senior managers too sometimes are called, related to that field from outside. Please note, wherein they would want to ask you industry specific questions. So if you are getting into a field like the IT, you should be aware of everything that is relevant to computers, from computer hacking to ethical hacking. They may throw questions at you that, would you hack, if you are told to hack somebody's computer for let us say a very moral purpose or good purpose, would you do it? So this becomes a moral question for you.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I have a question.
Yep.
Like you mentioned, there will be technical experts there.
There
So
could be.
what if they ask a question and we have no idea about it?
Well, you see, which program are you doing, dear?
We're all doing a bachelor's in technology,
Technology.
technical degree.
Please be rest assured that questions on technology will be asked. You should read up your entire material, whatever you can lay your hands on. They may ask you what is your favorite subject, and they may say, okay, that's your favorite. So let's begin with this.
And
Or they may
still,
ask you,
there are instances where we do not know the answer of a question.
yeah, I'm coming to
So how
that.
do we respond to that?
I'm coming to that part, but I thought I'll point it out that how this question is usually asked is, they may say, which are the areas, what are the subjects that you are doing? So you may say that you have so and so some subjects this semester, and they may ask you which one of these is your least favorite or least liked. And then you may say, I don't like this very much. And then, because they will force you, sometimes they may force you. I might force a candidate, okay, which one, which is it that you don't like? And then it is commonly observed, and one of these colleges, this was happening. I forget the name now. So they have, so the college, the program that you, the course that you really don't, are not very fond of, the question comes from there. That, okay, now let us discuss this. Now that you don't like it so much, we'll discuss this. So therefore, if you do not, and of course your question, which is very important, that is, if you do not know uh, a particular answer, it is best to be fair, and you can just say that I'm afraid I may not be able to answer that, or I really don't have, or you can try and answer it partially if you know it partially. So you can, it's better to admit that you don't know that answer. So you can say, I'm afraid I wouldn't have an answer to that question. I wouldn't have is better than saying I don't know, because there's too much of a no in that. So avoid using the word no, and you can say that I'm afraid, but I may not have an answer to that. Can you see how this is different from saying that I don't know? I don't know. And if there are too many I don't knows, they will start ringing in their ears. Just think about it, We are making a connect with people. So I hope you got that you've got to frankly admit, but don't be blunt about it. Be a little on the back foot, just be a little gentle while expressing this. Be frank. That if you don't know, it's just too bad. But if you can say something related to it, it's better. Before you think of refusing, it's better to say something on that. Then, as I was telling you, you in your own introduction, try and bring out your strengths and achievements. This is the most important part of the interview, wherein they will ask you. In fact, they give you a free rope. They give you an opportunity to talk about yourself when they ask you this question. That tell us something about yourself, and you can just start off by talking about what all that you have done. So make my suggestion to you is, please open up a file in which you, or a presentation on yourself, wherein you start writing these things, that what you have been doing in college for the last 2 years. And in COVID times, in the lockdown times, there may have been other challenges. Please write about them. I know of colleges wherein they asked that, what did you do in COVID? So the person said that we were at home and I was helping my parents and I was studying. So they asked them that, okay, how did you help your parents in COVID? And the student went on to tell that he was mopping the floor, he was chopping vegetables, and he was doing the household chores. And that's what he said over there. So he was very frank, very, very frank. Then this is what I did to help out, because it was a tough time and you were also part of it. Weren't you all a part of the lockdown period in college? Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
All of you have been a part of the lockdown period, and I'm just saying that questions could be asked on that also. So it's good to be honest, it's good to be ethical, and it's important that we don't make up any stories over there. Then interviews can be sometimes stress interviews also, and I don't see stress interviews coming for you though. In a stress interview, you can be asked a string of questions which can make things difficult for you, but the student has to keep answering the questions to the best of his capability and not get disappointed by the questions. At your level, I don't see stress interviews coming up for you. They may for a senior profile, more senior profile, I would say.
Ma'am,
Then, yeah.
do you think we need to have a brief knowledge about the company whose interview we are preparing for?
Definitely not brief. You've got to have a detailed knowledge about the company. Not brief. You've got to be absolutely sure about the company. Read up its website. Read up all. Click all the tabs. Find out what the company is doing and what is your profile going to be. You should know exactly what your profile is going to be and what are the requirements of the profile, so that you can maybe talk about them. That you have those skills in your own discussions. Right? Did you get that?
Okay, ma'am.
And I'm glad some of you are asking questions. So I would rather encourage everybody else also to ask some questions. Then this one, the length of the interview, uh, uh, it's best not to frame any judgments from it. I'm sure a student may think that the interview went on for a very long time, and so he may get rejected or selected in it. So there is no point thinking about this, except that you yourself have to put your best foot forward at the interview. An interview can go long for many reasons, and there is no uh, there is no it may not be right to think that one of the two is going to happen. Whether some of you might think that you may get rejected because it went on for very long, or you might feel that it just um, that you're going to get selected because perhaps they found you very interesting. Something you may have your own, you may frame an opinion like this. So we would should rather not make any of such opinions. Then, as I was telling you, that a lot of ways you are judged, and I didn't talk about your. There are two things with respect to your knowledge. They may ask you that, please explain what is cryptocurrency and how it works. For example, this is a direct technical question. They may also ask you a question on what are Indian government's concerns with respect to the cryptocurrency. Or they may ask you which recent companies have been served a notice by the government of India. So this becomes a link to current awareness. And this is by far the most important part of the interview, wherein you tell the other person, or as an individual, as an interviewee, I would want to give an impression that I know what's happening, uh, generally aware. in this business, in this industry, what is happening. I wouldn't like to come across as a person who doesn't know what is happening around me. Please note this. And so, if I may ask you, who is the Information and Technology Minister? May I ask you that question? Yes, please. The IT Minister, please. Anybody? Anybody can come forward, please, with this answer. Nope. Now, you see, the point is that we are not going to be given, we won't be given enough time um, to respond. I mean, you ask a question and somebody has to respond. So, if you don't know uh, who is the holder, the office bearer, or the minister, so it is best to say that I'm afraid that I don't know. You might as well say that I'm afraid that I don't know. So let me throw another question: that who is the chief of army staff? Chief of army staff, quite an important position. Okay, uh, we don't have that. Who is the prime minister of Pakistan? Or Sri Lanka? Who is heading Sri Lanka right now? All right. Now this clearly,
Of
yeah.
Pakistan, it is Shehbaz Sharif.
All right. Fair enough. Good.
And I also have one question.
Mhm.
Like, if the interviewer is asking us if we are getting any offers from the other companies, how are we supposed to reply to that?
Offers from other companies. Well, I would rather suggest that uh, yeah, this is a question that has to be handled. See, let's say that, see, if it is your first interview that you're facing in college, then you can say that I'm afraid that I haven't got any offers so far. And or you say that this is the first, if that is your first interview you are facing, because this is my first interview, and so no offers so far. I haven't applied otherwise. Because some people, what they do is they apply as freshers online. They can put their profile on Naukri also. So you can say that I haven't tried any other avenues and this is my first interview, something like that. But it's a tricky question what you have asked, because uh, sometimes in colleges actually have a policy wherein if you've got an offer letter, they don't let you sit in other interviews. I don't know what is the policy back at your college. Usually colleges don't allow students to sit in multiple interviews. Once they get selected for a particular profile, then the student is not allowed to sit in other interviews. Please note that. You can find out what is the policy at your college. I don't think they would do that, because if you take a profile, then you are out of the placement process, and you go to that company. So please find that about. Find because it's a tricky question. I can't be sitting on 3 or 4 interviews, and I may have got some other offers, and then how do you handle a question like that? You're sitting for TCS interview and you've already got an offer from Infosys, and so would you say that you have an offer from Infosys and still I'm sitting over here in front of you in this interview?
And that
What?
would sound very negative.
That will be very negative. That is just not the way to go. You cannot give the other person an impression that this is just, I'm taking this interview and I will see where I get the better offer, which is a better profile and what suits me better, and then I will decide. The moment they get that feeling, it may not be good for the interviewee. So, whichever way you want to handle it, please keep that in mind. Then, um, some
Ma'am,
other kind. Yes, please.
is it appropriate for us to ask about the feedback after the interview?
No, not at all. You don't have to ask anything. You just put your best foot forward. They might ask you, where do you see yourself a few years from now? What do you see yourself doing? Please be very clear about it. If you are in the IT sector, the this technology sector, you should know what is the latest in the technology sector, and this company where you are going, what kind of a profile is that, and you can say that, okay, I see myself in a senior role, maybe managing a team and leading a team, You should know what is cloud computing, and you should know generally things about software development and the problems that occur. So there are so that question is out which you asked me. But a question that is very important is that you have to give them, they might ask you a futuristic perspective, that where do you see yourself 5 years or 10 years from now. So you should have an idea that people who are in this sector, how they grow. So please speak to some people who are already in IT, how they grow. Some senior people who have got about 8 9 years of experience, 7 8 years of experience. Ask them what are their profiles so that you know what they are doing, and so you can comfortably talk about them. And they may even ask you that, okay, list some of the what is that some of the qualities of a good manager. You see yourself as a manager, so let's have some qualities from you. So you should be ready for that also, that he should be a multitasker, he should be able to take decisions quickly, he should have good communication skills, he should be able to successfully lead a team, he should be able to mentor his people. So these are all related questions, one leads to the other. So, but however, at a fresher stage, they may ask you questions like, okay, what are your weaknesses? Please share your weaknesses. So what would you say is your weakness? If I asked you this question, can you please say what is your weakness?
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah, let's have it.
I would answer my weaknesses would be there are times when I get nervous, like
Oh,
panic sort of, to certain situations, certain responses, not everything, but to a particular situation. It can be anything, maybe
okay.
work pressure or personal issues.
So, all right. So you become panicky. So how do you? So are you feeling panicky now at the interview?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, at a particular situation, so basically I meditate or I just calmly breathe in and out to basically calm myself during those situations.
Okay, all right. That's a fair enough thing, I think. It's not bad. It's fair enough to say that you sometimes feel panicky, to panic sometimes, and then you start you. But please give the solution only when they ask you. Please
Sure, ma'am.
do not give the weakness and the solution together. Just wait for them to ask. So sometimes I feel, but they may ask you that, okay, when do you panic? So are you ready with the situation? When do you panic?
Mm, oh, currently I don't have a particular situation. That depends. Like
No, no,
I,
no, no, no. This is not acceptable, dear. If you have said that you get panic, you feel like panicking in some situations, you've got to have a couple of situations in which you panic. You can't say that you can't dilly dally the thing then. Okay,
okay.
so think about it, and you need to have an answer for this. But you can just share if you have any answer that comes to your mind now. We can talk about it.
Ma'am, there's a question in the chat box. So I will read that for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Suppose we have to change our job profile. Like if a person is from technical background and he wants to switch his profile in non-technical background. So how he should tackle this problem?
There is no problem at all. In fact, that depends on your placement. If you are going for a job that is administrative, focus your CV should focus on the administrative part, and you should speak as if you have been able to manage some situations, maybe in college, organize something. There is no problem at all. It is not that the IT people will forever be in technology. Please note, there's a lot of scope later on. Going on from here, all of you are in graduation. That's my understanding. Graduation, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you're in graduation, you'll go for a post grad. Some of you may go in for an MTech program, maybe in the IITs or some other colleges. Some of you may go in for an MBA program in management. And so there are a whole lot of streams available, and nobody sees that, that you were an IT guy earlier, not in the MBA stream at least. In the MBA, of course, you can be from any stream. You can be from arts or psychology or BTech. You may be IT. You may be just about anybody. They are just looking for the right attitude. And will this person just fit in over here? Will he be able to take on this job? So whatever profile you're offering, you're being offered. Let us say at the interview, you should know what it requires, and you should be able to speak about it. You should also have some industry based information on that. For example, if you have a backend job for hardware, Then you should know about computer hardware, how it is changing, what are the latest trends.
But sometimes they do ask you, like, why do you want to change your stream? If you're from a tech background, why are you applying for this role?
Well, you would say that you are a person who would you can say that technology is a part of any department nowadays. I mean, you think whichever department you want to think of. So he can say that, well, I have an IT, I did a program in IT, but the profile requires IT skills. It requires no department. If you really are asking me an answer, I can suggest that across departments, across functionalities, knowledge of computers is required and technology is required, which is an added advantage.
And
And
then they can also ask, then why are you not applying for a technical role, a technical job?
well, the person is not applied. I'm just asking, telling you that if it's a non-technical profile, you can say that I'm open to learning. I'm open to diversifying uh, my area of learning. I'm open to learning uh, from different fields, you can say. So a person can get into a finance stream. He simply has to justify his interest over there. If they ask you, why are you going there? So I say, I'm interested. It interests me. So please justify your interest. That's it. You get it? You have to justify the interest in the profile. And a person who's in IT, what are the other profiles for him? There could be profiles in statistics, and analytics. There could be profiles in marketing. There could be profiles in business development. And so, if business development is there, then business development involves a lot of go. You've got to be very dynamic. You've got to have good communication skills. So you can focus on that. You can say that I think it is my strength that I can communicate with people and maybe even convince them. I can um, talk about your communication skills, that you're good at it and that you enjoy doing it. Please note, you have got to know what your profile wants and you've got to say that you like doing it. That's the bottom line. So there is no question that which cannot be handled. You should simply have to tell them that you're interested in it. It's like somebody is asking you that, why are you having this ice cream, this black currant flavor ice cream. You simply say that I like its flavor, but then you've got to know what is black currant. You should be able to talk about it a little. That's good enough, I think. I was just trying to draw an analogy over here, right? I hope you got that. Then something on telephonic interviews. I would not like to take this.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
like right now you asked ki how do we address our weakness? Can we like say it in a way that I lacked confidence in the initial years of my life, but in the recent times I've been trying to build it, so it would like not look like a very negative thing.
Well, I would rather suggest that you don't say that, because in any case it was a past thing that you lacked in confidence, but you're getting better at it. So why do you want to say that you lack confidence?
Okay.
It's a very big thing. Everybody's looking for confidence, and I would not recommend that at all. You can say something else. Think about something else. Did you say the weakness part? That you give too much time to your work? Is that bad? Well, family and all. So I'll suggest a diplomatic way of putting it across. You can say that, well, I think that I would rather have to, I am looking at more balancing my uh, work related and other commitments, other things which I'd like to, I feel that I'm more focused into my work. And your work right now is what, your studies or something? Is it your studies? So you would rather say that I am looking at bettering my balance, my work versus my other activities balance. I feel that I am giving too much time to my academic areas, though academic areas are important in themselves, but I think I need to take out some time for my other activities, like, let us say, sports or reading, or maybe spending time with the family. a quality time with the family, something like this you can say. But it's got to be presented very diplomatically. You it's the same thing. Whatever you said, I just put it across differently. Did you get that? It's the same thing, but you said that I give too much time to your work, and I just shifted it to the work and the other activities balance. Not work life, but some kind of a balance. And that too diplomatically, not telling the person that um, uh, because it's not bad to work. Sometimes you really have to work a lot, but it's good that you're thinking on those lines already. So it's a decent enough thing. I think it's a good. Anybody else who wishes to ask, because this is quite an interesting topic, weaknesses and all. Your
Ma'am,
strengths.
can you tell what is the answer when someone asks us about our weaknesses that doesn't portray us in negative image?
You want me to give the answer for you all?
Or like just a random answer that might help us to frame our
I
answers.
I know this because a lot of students ask me the same question that, ma'am, why don't you tell me my weakness? I said, look, this is a very difficult question. How can I tell you what your weakness is? But I can share with you some of the common weaknesses that students do talk about. And they talk about something which is called procrastination, which is taking a lot of time to decide something. And uh, there's a word procrastination, which means taking too much time to decide
Yes,
what you
ma'am.
want to do. And some other questions are like that I'm a very emotional kind of a person, something like that. But then I ask the person that, is it bad to be emotional? So too emotional, let's say you are too emotional, too sentimental, it may not be good. Too much of anything is bad. Something like this. This is what I hear from people. So please note that you can't just pick these things. You've got to see where rightfully speaking, you should think introspect, where you think what you think is your own weakness, but you should reach out to your faculty to find out how to put it across diplomatically, so that, like I straight away told the student who was asking about confidence. I said there is no way you can say that you lack confidence, because that's a very very important feature. It is something like saying that I don't have good communication skills. I think that I need to better my communication skills. I think I don't have too many friends. That may not be a very good idea. Did you get this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can work on that, and maybe you can just speak to some people left and right, and speak to some seniors. That is this the right way to put it across? Or you can reach out to us separately. We can always give you some inputs. Or you can think now and ask me just now, something like that. And likewise, there's another question about your strengths. So if somebody asks you to say that, okay, what are your strengths, then what would you say? In fact, so your strengths part has got to be properly highlighted in your interview question. That tell us something about yourself in that question. So what would you say are your strengths? I would ask all the students here on in the session that if somebody were to ask you, or if you have to present your strengths, what would you say? Any one or two strengths, what would they be?
Hardworking.
Well, so would you straight away say that I'm a hardworking person, or would you rather present a scenario which shows that you worked hard?
But ma'am, like generally everyone believes that they're hardworking. Like, so
But
everyone says that we are
I
hardworking.
know this, they may be saying that, but I would not want you to say that.
Okay.
Now, how do you prove that you are hardworking? If I say I'm a very honest person, I'm a hardworking person, and I'm a very punctual person, so it may not be the best way to put it forward. For example, your hard work. So think of something which you have done in the university, maybe with your own course syllabus. Think about, give a situation. You can say that, well, I would like to bring out that in my, I'm just making up a story, just to prove, just to show to you all that how you can tell the other person that you are hardworking without using the word hardworking. So you say that, in my initial during my initial semesters, I thought that there was some scope for improvement in the scores, and I just sat about thinking that where I know where I lacked in my efforts because I thought my grades could have been better. So I reached out to my friends and faculty, and I sat out late nights working on concepts, trying to understand them, and it was it was a happy, you can say it was a happy ending finally when I saw that my percentage had shot up by 15 points by the end of the fourth semester. So it was really heartening to know that my hard work had paid off. So you're telling the other person that you did some hard work and it paid off, you got a good grade. So over a period of time you worked. So this is with respect to your course. You can even pick any other event, something that you may have done. Maybe you were asked to prepare something as part of a society wherein you initially were not able to do it, but you put in a lot of efforts with everybody's help. And in that process, you can show that you are a person who can organize things. You can organize things and you can lead people, you can communicate with them, you can motivate them. So you make a story and present it to the other person. Remember this. You must at least have four stories to tell the other person. Two to four stories, all related to hard work, communication, group work, and team skills. Something like this, hard work, communication, organizing, and coordination. These three with any two to four activities from your college days or some other event that you participated wherein you faced a tough time, you should have a story ready to tell the other person. Okay, everybody, please prepare your stories. I think that is what is going to help you guys, and it seems authentic also. It seems authentic. I'm not asking you to cook up any stories. So you pick something and you'll be able to present. It will sound very credible, believable. It should be believable. You don't have to cook any fancy tales. All right. So my suggestion to you all is please focus on preparing answers to these questions. Like tell me about yourself, as I guided you earlier, your strengths and weaknesses, and what would you like to? Where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years from now? And what do you think you will be doing in this profile? And these three, four questions that these three, four stories you can prepare on communications, which highlight your skill set, frankly speaking. So please remember, do talk about these stories, use these stories while introducing yourself like that. And the other thing you guys need to focus on is the general awareness part. Is anybody reading any newspaper on a regular basis here? Anybody who reads it kind of regularly, the newspapers? If you may be rather seeing those news from the, as it comes to you on in shorts, there is an app, the in shorts news, but that is the, I would say, it is the fast food of news. It doesn't give you any in-depth understanding of the news itself. Forget the analysis part of it. So my strong recommendation to you all is you guys should read at least one business newspaper every day. So please get hold of a paper which you can form a group and you can share the papers with one another. It'll be really nice. You should know how the economy is shaping, how the IT world, technology world is shaping different industries, and educate yourself if you want to do present a very professional image before interviewers. Because please note, any company that hires people, they want value for money. Though they are not short of any money, they have enough money, but they're looking for the right kind of talent and attitude in people. So if you till date are not reading much, so build an attitude that you will know more and you will understand more about the economy, because you're going to be a part of it. And if you go for these company interviews, they don't want people who are not even aware of who is the the CEO of the company, for example, where you're going or where are its headquarters located. And you'll be able to speak a lot. You'll be able to align your own interest with that company the moment you read its website. So it's my strong suggestion. Spend about at least 30 minutes on the website, if not more. We are looking for what the company is doing and what kind of people it looks for, like that. All right. So, hmm. You don't have to present the positive side. It should seem that it is an acceptable weakness. Now, which also reminds me. Wait a moment. I just want to get away from this full mode screen. I just want to just a second. Just a second. Just trying to yes get myself stop presenting because we are more or less we have very limited time to discuss all this. Sorry, what was your question? I just didn't. Yeah, yeah, procrastinating sometimes. Yeah, I'm afraid I couldn't see this chat box earlier, but no, please note the word procrastinate has got a very negative connotation. So I would not say that you use this word at all. You can say that it is good to procrastinate. Procrastination can never be good because the word has a negative connotation. You know, like words, they have connotations that they can have positive associations or negative. This one has a negative association. So, in fact, if you want to say that you take time to take your decisions, so you say that you like to analyze the pros and cons of a situation and then take a decision, which is better than saying that you procrastinate. Did you get my point? The word is negative. Just look up the word in a dictionary. In a dictionary like lexico.com, which is a standard resource, please look it up. You'll find the word as a negative connotation. So, if you are saying that it's your weakness, that means you take too long to take decisions sometimes. And then you land up not taking a decision. No, I would not recommend that at all because the word, please look up this word in a dictionary. It has got a negative connotation. So, how can I use it in the positive way? I mean, if you say that he's a slimy person or a sly fellow or a crafty fellow, sly, crafty, slimy, these are negative words. So I can't use them in a positive sense. So if you, yeah, that is the whole point because I take these verbal sessions. So I'm pretty sure that the word is negative. So even if you want to use this in a as a weakness, so you can say that I sometimes feel that I take a bit too long to take decisions. It's better to say that instead of saying that I procrastinate. But then I get my right decisions. That may not be right because it's quite a contradiction. Okay. Okay, what is that, Gagandeep? You have asked me. That's quite an interesting question. So you'll have to look. You can tell them something interesting about yourself, some activity which you may have done, that you're very interested in outdoor sports or something, and you enjoy going out with friends. Something like that. You can tell them something about your personality. Please note, which is not there in the in your CV. All right. Any more questions, students? Because I'd like to wind up now, and we'll
Ma'am,
probably.
one more question.
Yep.
If we have a situation like this that we are like interviewing for numerous companies and for one company we get the placement offer and it says that we have to join for tomorrow, but I'm still waiting upon the other companies because they have got better job offers. So how do
Hmm.
I say it in a better sense that I'm looking on to other offers as well?
Yeah, you'll have to diplomatically tell them that you would like to study the profile a little and maybe consult your parents because it involves certain. Let's say the company wants you to go to a XYZ place. So you say that if I will need some time to take a decision. I may not be able to immediately accept the offer. I'll study this. And I really thank you for making this offer. But I'd like to just consult my parents since it is, I mean, give them a valid reason why you want time. You're not rejecting anybody, but you need some time to take a decision. Give them a valid reason. Did you get it? So it
Yes,
could,
ma'am.
that has to be started then and there, because the company may be, let us say, Chennai based or Bangalore based, or it may be East based somewhere or some place, and you say that I need to consult my parents and or I need to just have a family consultation, and then shortly, in all probability, I should get back to you on this. So you have to learn to frame these answers and speak them confidently without any doubts. Otherwise, they will immediately, they can sense that the student is pulling a fast one, trying to simply, cook a story or something. You can say, I really thank you for this offer, and I deeply, I am, you can say, very excited about this opening, but please give me a few days before I finally put in a yes, because I'll have to inform my parents. Don't say you have to consult your parents, say I have to inform them. Consult may give it a feeling that for everything you have to consult your parents and you can't take decisions yourself. So I'll take back that advice. You would rather say that I have to inform my parents and I'm going to get back to you as soon as possible. Well, very confidently put it across.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions,
Oh,
students?
yes, ma'am. May I?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, do you think co-curricular activities and certificates have a decent percent in our CV?
Okay. Decent. What did you say?
Percentage, like basically, do they affect our CV in a good way or what? Like
It's a
how it
good
helps?
thing only,
Like
but
how it helps?
it will help you greatly. But please know whatever you have done and put in your CV as co-curricular, extracurricular activities, bring it out during your introduction when they ask you. They are likely to fresher interviews. Usually they ask that please tell us something about yourself. So when you present those activities, you're presenting what those activities represent. If you are part of a NGO that is into helping the old people, so it shows how empathetic you are and caring person you are. It shows that. So you talk about it very quickly and learn to finish your introductions in 1 or 2 minutes. You won't have more time than that. So
Okay,
unless you
ma'am.
start thinking now about how to introduce yourself and incorporate these activities in your introductions, it may not be a holistic introduction only. Do you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
So certainly, it has a very positive effect on them. And they want dynamic people. They want people with multiple skills. They are looking for people with a range of experience and those who are interested in taking on responsibility and engage in, basically do many things and show some interest in various areas rather than just being focused on the academic side or something like that. They would rather have a robust personality.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. So, with that, should we wind up, students? Well, I think we can wind up now, students. It was really nice interacting with you all. I hope that I've been able to, at least you'll be able to take the first step on and start preparing your own answers to these questions. And should you have any issues, don't hesitate to reach out to us. The faculty there at your college that has organized this, you can reach out to them and we can always have another session. Uh,
Thank you,
anything
ma'am,
else?
for such an insightful and knowledgeable seminar.
Oh, it's my pleasure, but I can see Gagandeep has asked me another question. What is that? Before I go, let me just take this. You can pick any of these, Gagandeep. You can pick an example from your academic life or non-academic life. Please note, that is not the question. From anywhere, you can pick some examples. But before you frame your answers and before you finalize them, do reach out to the appropriate faculty who can guide you on this. But the example can be from anywhere. In fact, they usually ask these questions that tell us a situation wherein you were able to successfully do something, you overcame failure, something like this. They ask these questions. So, this is the time to start thinking about these events. All right. Okay, students, then bye bye, dear. It was really nice interacting with you all. Wish you all the very best. Wish you all the
Thank
very
you,
best
ma'am.
for future, all of you. And let's hope if we can ever maybe have another session again. Okay, bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.